on point right now. We're ready, the handshakes, you can see the players. We're off.
We are off, and Magnus Carlsen, he starts with 1d4 against Denis Lazavik.
Yeah, you just see the players. I'm just always interested how they make their first 3 moves, because some people, they spend a little bit of time, others, they slam the first to the game. But we do see a queen's pawn opening from Magnus Carlsen. I wonder how Denis is going to play this game.
Yeah, solid has been his trademark throughout this season, Denis Lazavik. We see him open as black with the Queen's Gambit. The Queen's Gambit declined. Rock solid stuff. Magnus trades off a set of pawns in the center. Really interesting that neither player really showing too much speed with the way they're moving. Looks quite lethargic, if anything, the way they're moving the pieces. Just calm start to this game, Robert.
And I'm looking at Denis, who's holding his head already. I think something that he admitted to was that when he's playing online, he's not looking at his opponent. But here he is, Magnus Carlsen, the highest-rated chess player in history across him, and he probably just doesn't want to look at Magnus. He said, I'm going to focus on the board. Let's be objective about things.
Let's pretend it's I was going to say offline chess, online chess even. This is offline chess over the board, of course. But Denis so strong with a mouse, so strong when it's online. And okay, this is interesting. Black already ambitiously attacking White's bishop. This knight on the rim, far from dim. And a bit of a rare position, forcing Magnus to take the first real think of this game.
I like the choice because he is being very clear in his intentions. I want to take that bishop off the board and claim the 2 bishops advantage. The best players in the world, they prefer to have a pair of bishops rather than a knight and a bishop. It's equal in terms of point value, but bishops longer range pieces. So Magnus is actually sitting in for a think here. David, why would he be surprised by knight h5?
Yeah, I'm shocked. Magnus is a big expert in this opening with White and with Black. And to surprise the world #1 will be a big psychological success for Lazavik. Either Magnus is totally shocked and is out of book and has messed up his move order, or he just knows too much about this position and is trying to juggle, trying to weigh up which option to go for. White, of course, doesn't even need to move the bishop. It is protected by a pawn. White has various squares for that bishop to retreat, to move, to even go and capture Black's knight over on b8. So I think Magnus, probably not that surprised, but certainly not looking too warm right now as he weighs up this decision.
Yeah, as you said, getting your bishop captured is not the end of the world, and Black has spent 2 tempi with that knight. So Black has not castled the king. White has 3 pieces out. Black just has 2. You can bring that 4th and last minor piece in the game, developing your light square bishop. And you see Magnus has taken my bishop on the 4. Let's first go with the queen. Now he's flexible. David, is he thinking about castling queenside?
Definitely. Magnus Carlsen, he's universal in his own words. In terms of style, he can play any style. But especially, I noticed against lower-rated players, he takes risks, he plays provocative moves, and always the most ambitious ones. So, yeah, interesting moment. I would never dabble in anything like this. I'm a much more classical player, but Magnus, he's really putting pressure on Lazavik at an early stage.
It's smart play by him because he is trying to put the ball in Lazavik's court. And now there are going to be double pawns on the board. That sounds like a bad thing, but inherent to having double pawns, open files. And also there's a 4-on-3 pawn majority for White on the king side. And if Black's king ventures on over there, then we could see the makings of an attack.
And this is exactly the kind of outcome that we want out of the opening. A non-standard position where there's already an imbalance with a knight versus bishop trade. So we know that it is going to be a well-fought middle game. One of the things that sets Denis Lazavik apart from his colleagues, his young colleagues, is that his positional style, his strategic play. And Magnus Carlsen, how do you find your chances of defeating the world's greatest player with that style? Will Denis Lazavik, with the black pieces, be able to hold on in this one and make a go of it with the white pieces in the next round? We will keep an eye out on this one, but we've also got moves coming in from
for what's going on. We can zoom in on the players. There we see Denis Lazavik hunched over the board there. Magnus Carlsen trying to figure things out. The A-pawn is gone. The white king has sprinted over there. But if I'm looking at this position correctly, white has 2 pawns remaining on the king side. And is there one next to that black king? That's the big question.
No, it's 2 pawns against 0. So Magnus is 2 pawns ahead, but the white king is cut off. The white king is so far away from protecting its pawns. And the question is whether Denis can make the most of that. He's playing moves with under 10 seconds on his clock. He's going for the white pawns now, but he cannot win them. Black's king also unable to make headway towards those pawns. Maybe Magnus now has the time to bring his king. If white can coordinate, if white can use his whole army together, he's simply going to walk the pawns down the board.
And it feels like that's going to be the case. You just start bringing your king closer to the king side pawns because black never has the opportunity to actually pick up one of the pawns and trade the rooks. All king pawn endings will be lost.
But there's something very smart that Denis Lazavik is doing. He's trying to provoke a pawn push because then his king will step in front of it and then the king may go forward. Now, the rook and king can team up on a pawn, but you can't capture it because if the rooks get traded, then the other pawn will sprint to the other side and become a queen. So what Denis is hoping for, he's trying to get some kind of fortress where the pawns can't go forward, but it looks like Magnus's king, it's venturing closer and closer, and after rook f5 check here, it looks like it's going to be done in Magnus's favor.
Yeah, even without using the white king now, as long as the white king keeps itself safe, the pawns and rook actually guide each other towards the promotion square. So Magnus has this. He doesn't even need to show much sophistication here. Unfortunately for Denis, I think he had the draw in his hands, but the time, the clock.
That's it, handshakes. And Magnus Carlsen takes the lead with a win. Denis Lazavik so close to securing that draw.
Yeah, so close, yet so far. Unfortunately, the result is 1-0 in Magnus's favor. But Denis Lazavik, he should be proud of the way he played. He got himself in time trouble. He actually still had drawing chances, just a few moves before the game ended. But the game is over. Magnus is our first winner here at the Champions Chess Tour, but they will